What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning into the channel. It's your boy Devin Coates, coming to you with another book review. It's Brian Tracy's Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. So I just picked this up actually off of a friend of mine's bookshelf, but it's a pretty good read, so I felt like I should give it a book review. Okay, so here are three main portions of the book, just to kind of have some format as I'm going through it. Number one, change your thinking, change your life. So a main premise of this book, obviously it's the fucking title. So the main premise of the book is that if you change your life, if you change your thinking, you will change your life. So a big understanding is that you are what you think. So the same way you hear that you are what you eat, what you're thinking on a daily basis is what you will manifest. Anybody, especially in this day and age, it's very hard not to be familiar with like the law of attraction and things like that. It's basically an idea that's similar to that. What you're thinking is what you will be manifesting in the future. So if you have positive growth thoughts, things like that, then you will be moving in a positive growth-oriented trajectory. If you have negative, self-limiting, and regressive type of thoughts, you will have a retreating, self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's basically the major premise that a lot of the book is set on. Okay, and another portion of this idea is that what you are and what you have is a reflection of your past thoughts and the thoughts you have today. So you kind of have to think that you deserve a lot of what you have. That is a big portion of this, and I'm going to get to that as the second part. But what you have today and what you're making today, like the difference between, you know, a guy who makes $1 billion a year and a guy who makes $10,000 a year, is not that they have a different 24-hour day, is that they think different, and because they think different, they're taking different actions on a repetitive basis that are leading to a different result every day. And then when you compound that, it equals very large differences in the long run. In the last portion of this, you are what you think, and what you think becomes what you have, is really that everything that has ever been discovered or created in this world first originated in somebody's mind. So anything you have, any ideas of, even you can take this to the most abstract, the idea of what a nation is, religion, electricity, internet, all of these first appeared in somebody's mind. The biggest buildings, a car, a boat, an airplane, all of these things first originated in the mind before they were ever created in the physical world. So first thing is that it starts with your thoughts. Part two. So I did mention in the first part where it's all about what you're thinking. The second part is just taking ownership and taking charge of your life. So I did mention about everything you have and everything you are up to this point is a reflection of your thoughts. Well, now you have to take full ownership for all that happens in your life and full responsibility. Now this is something that's kind of away from the book, but it's a way that I kind of helped me understand the book. Something that Grant Cardone says all the time, that if you keep making outside circumstances be the problem, then there is no solution. But if you're the problem for everything that happens in your life, then you are the solution. So that is another way of the kind of mindset and position that Brian Tracy takes. And it's just really that you need to take full ownership for everything happening in your life, and that you can change the way you think and you can change your reality. And then this would lead to the second point of no more excuses. So I think he actually has a book called No More Excuses. This is the first book I've ever read about Brian Tracy. I'm in sales, so that's really what got me in, but I digress. But it's really just deciding what you want and taking the appropriate actions necessary. Deciding what you want and then forcing yourself to have those thoughts. And he gives a lot of different tips and tricks and techniques. But one thing he doesn't get away from that I do enjoy is that, I mean, it's going to take hard work. It's not going to be an easy thing. It's not something that, you know, you're just going to flip a switch one day and everything's going to change. But if you do really consciously take inventory of what you're thinking and be very intentional and direct and specific and chase it with a relentless, tenacious type of determination and attitude of action, then you can really create the life that you want by really changing your thoughts as it starts in the beginning. Number 3, commit to excellence. So he really just talks about wanting to be the best, and he seems like somebody that's really in one of those ideas of like, put all your eggs in one basket and then just protect that basket. So it's like, you just always want to be the best, always commit to excellence. And I'm kind of going to be backtracking a little bit, but it's taking ownership of everything. So when you kind of have that whole mindset, he explains this feeling of, you're not, one, he always talks about becoming unstoppable. So you just kind of create so much momentum, you become unstoppable. But you also have to think from the aspect of, he talks about losing a job and things like that. But like, he's like, if you have the right thinking, you're committed to excellence, you're committed to being the best, and you will change your thinking, not make excuses, and put in the appropriate work and effort, there's nothing you will feel like you can't do. If things change and you have to have a whole nother career and a whole nother industry and different skill set, you feel like you have what it takes to learn that, develop it, put in the hours, and become what you want to become. So he really talks about committing to excellence, committing to being the best, and doing what needs to be done and what is required to being the best. And just really fully committing, and when you do that process, that things will start to open up for you. He does kind of have a bit of that belief, and I truly kind of believe this too. Some people have their own different little perspectives on those things, but as you fully commit and you fully immerse yourself in something, things do start to open up. Things do start to become a little bit easier for you, and that's an important point to have. That's an important having faith in what you're doing, and that when you make that commitment and the power of commitment. And another thing from Grant Cardone, I love that commitment requires 1, time, and 2, resources. If you're not committing time and resources to that endeavor, it's not really a commitment. It's just what Brandon Carter calls just interest. You know, you're just interested in it. You just kind of like it. But if you're really committed to something, you're going to put time and resources. And Brian Tracy kind of opens your eyes to the fact that if you put those time and resources, make a true commitment, things start to open up. You start to see things in a different way, and it starts to become, I don't want to say easier, but you start to, it's like walking around the block. You know, when you are approaching the corner, you can't see the other corner. But once you get to the corner, you know where the sidewalk is, and you can kind of redirect. Even if it was like the sidewalk was all jacked up and it went this way and this way and this way. Once you turn the corner, you have a great view. But if you didn't keep walking to the corner, you would never be able to see any of that. So that is the way he kind of lays a lot of things out, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So in all, I really enjoyed this book. Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, Brian Tracy. He's a big sales guy. This is pretty much a pure self-development book in terms of what the scope of what it's covering in its entirety. I really liked it. If I have to be completely honest, there are aspects that are pretty redundant if you are reading a lot of self-development. So this is one of my first self-development books, like pure self-development books I've read in a little bit. So it's a little bit different, because before, when I was reading them, I didn't really have a firm foundation of self-development books that I've read. But now that I'm reading them, you do kind of start to hear a lot of the same things. But it doesn't take away from this guy. If this is your first kind of taste, this is a great one, very easy read. And if you're more in the middle, close to me, it's still a great read. I'm not gonna act like you're gonna hear some radically new mindsets or tactics and techniques that you probably haven't heard thus far, but it's always great to kind of have the refresher. And I was gonna say sometimes, but honestly a lot of times it's more about repetition and really beating it down so it's an ingrained mental kind of feeling and just belief. So sometimes it's good to, from a new perspective, hear the same thing and hear that a lot of people became successful using the same thing, and it kind of really vets out what's, you know, iffy and not. If everybody's saying, you know, I worked hard and I committed, then you know you got to work hard and commit, and you got to think right. So that's it for this one. If you like the content, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Leave some comments below. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. I like any feedback I can get. It's your boy Devin Coates. Until next time, peace.